sessions of our Digit project, which is aimed at supporting SMEs, as you know, in the agri-food sector, by providing them some skills and some tools to improve their digitalization and therefore to boost their internationalization process. Today we are with StoreIS. I could have a look at their website. So they define themselves as an e-commerce and omnichannel retail consulting company, which incorporates also a digital marketing agency. So basically they are three things in one. They are located in Padua, which is a wonderful city, in my opinion, not far away from Venice, for all the people who are listening to us and who are not very familiar with the Italian geography. And what can I tell you? They have recently been nominated as one of the top 10 best workplaces for millennials in Italy. So congratulations, even from our side. Today we have Beppe and Giulia, both working for StoreIS. Beppe is e-commerce optimization and SEO director, and Giulia is an e-commerce optimization and SEO consultant. So I would say we can start with the first question, which will be answered by Beppe. And this question concerns UX, so user experience. And I'd like to ask Beppe, which are the main instruments involved in a UX analysis, allowing to understand the user behavior of people who are visiting our website, for example.
Hello, and thanks for inviting us to this moment. So, talking about user experience, we think it's not just using tools, but it's mostly about methodologies and approaches. So in our work of optimization of the user experience, we usually do 4 or 5 main methodologies that can really help to understand the user behavior in a website. The first one is the heuristic analysis. That is a method of evaluating a website against a set of usability principles. So basically, we, like an expert analysis, we try to identify the potential usability issues or design flows that may impact the user experience. And so we provide the first recommendations to improving the product availability or the checkout process or whatever. The second one, I think the most important one is the user testing. With the user testing, we directly test real users observing the way which they browse the website. So basically, to the participants are typically given specific tasks to complete, and during the observation, we take notes and gather feedbacks from them in order to understand how the users navigate and what feature they use most, what are the main pain points that they can experience during the navigation. Other things is the prototyping. So basically, we create wireframes for the website to test the different design ideas and to give the first advices in terms of changes that needs to be done. And the last 2 things that we usually do is the tools, the monitoring tools. that can help us to have more data, such as recording user sessions or generating heat maps, tracking clicks and mouse movements. So what is more specifically related to tool, and the A/B testing. So basically, when there's an important change that have to be done, we usually run an A/B test to compare the two ideas and the two different design elements, and track data in order to compare the two visualization and understand which one is performing better.
That was a very good overview, especially for beginners, I guess, like many of our listeners are. And I guess now it's the turn of Giulia. So Giulia, I give you the floor. And my question would be about the heuristic analysis. And what is it? Which aims does it have? Thanks.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we can say that heuristic analysis is a methodology that helps us to compare our website to a set of established usability principles that we also call them heuristics. And the goal is to identify if there are areas of improvement, if there are areas of that can be difficult to use for our users. And the main aim is to provide the actionable insights just to improve the user experience. So we create a list of heuristics based on our experience, but also based on Weimar Institute guidelines, and also from Nielsen Norman Group research. And with those guidelines, we can easily compare the website we're studying, we are analyzing, to them, and provide best practice to the website. So, for example, some of the main guidelines follow these rules that also Nielsen Norman Group highlights, like the visibility of system status. So the users should always be very easily understanding what the system is doing, what they're doing, and how the website answer to their actions. But also it's really important, the match between the system and the real world. So everything that we implement in the website should use the language and the concept that already exists in the real world and that are familiar to the users. And the users always have the control and the freedom. So a thing that is really important to understand is that we have to consent the user to go back and undo things if they don't want to stay in that place anymore, and just reverse any action that they do, and give them complete freedom. And the last one that is super important, and we see that it's really game-changing, and sometimes it's the consistency and standards. So we have to consider that users are used to some specific design choices and design features, and it's very important to follow those patterns and conventions. So by conducting the heuristic analysis, we can easily identify potential issues in the website and potential barriers, and provide recommendation for improving the usability of the website.
And how does a UX test with real users work? I mean, which are the steps? How do you conduct it? And which are the main results?
Usually we do it after the heuristic analysis. So we use it to observe how users interact with a website, to identify other areas where the user experience can be improved. This can be useful both for test the things that we already observed in the heuristic analysis, but also to find new barriers and things that doesn't work for the users. And in the real example of a user test, users are given specific tasks to complete, while both researchers and observers are watching the users and their behavior, like taking notes and gather feedback. We ask the users to do a list of tasks that can be like finding a specific product in the website, but also signing up for a newsletter, completing a specific form, or also placing an order. And during the user test, some barriers are highlighted. But what is really important is to choose some users that are valuable for the and representative for the website, so the feedback can be relevant and actionable, actually. What we use is a think out loud protocol. So we ask users to verbalize their thoughts and always tell us what they're thinking about, what they're doing in the website. And so this is super useful for actually understand what they're not able to do and what they're struggling in. And another thing is that it's super important to create an environment that is comfortable for the users, so they can act as they are in a real website, navigating like they're really like to navigate. And it's important that users are not afraid to make mistakes. So the purpose is always to listen them and uncover the areas that are the main barriers for them. And and the goal of everything here is mainly to better understand what are the user behavior on the website where we are analyzing, but also to identify the main pain points and areas for improvement. Also, we have sometimes some brands that ask us to do some specific feedback on specific areas, so we can easily find some highlights also there. And also we have some insights of how the user perceive the website and the product in them.
I have a question. How long does it usually take these tests? I mean, is there an average length of this testing procedures? Does it depend on the company, I guess, you're working for, on the dimensions, or how? Thanks.
The period in which we conduct the tests, it's mainly 2 weeks actually, but there is a moment before of all the things related with researching for the right users and writing the right tasks to ask the user to perform. And also there is a period after the user testing to analyze and produce a actionable report. But mainly there is 2 weeks of real user testings, but we usually involve 5 to 8 people, users, because the number that is the best practice to use is like from 5 to 10, let's say, because with 5 to 8 user, you can cover the 75-85% of all the barriers in the website. So it's not that complicated and not that undoable. And so, yeah, it's...
And talking about a single test session, the duration is about 45 minutes, something like this.
Oh,
so
I see.
Nothing so huge.
Okay. Now that was a very important point. We are usually asked about by companies wanting to start these sort of tests either internally or with the support of a digital marketing consultant, for example. And this is a very good point. Thank you, Giulia. And I give now the floor to Beppe, who is going to tell us about something about the impact UX has on the actual business a company does. So now, Beppe, it's your turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think UX is crucial in today's digital landscape because a good flow of navigation, a good UX can significantly impact on a business. If we talk about e-commerce, we know that on average, about the 65% of carts are abandoned. That's because there are some problems or issues on the checkout. And in a digital landscape in which there is a lot of competition and in which the same product can be sold by a lot of websites, a lot of e-commerce, having a positive user experience can really impact because it can improve the customer satisfaction, because it can reduce the bounce rate, it can increase the conversions, and so the revenue, generate more revenue. I mean, I think also that a good user experience can also lead to a highly user retention. Because I mean, if my experience on the website was good and I remember that it was easy, it can be easier to come back to that website and buy again from that website. On the other hand, a poor UX can lead to a user that begin to be frustrated, that when there is a lot of pop-ups, something that doesn't work, a user is more likely to abandon the website and the navigation. So I think that investing in UX research and design, it's really important, because the businesses can create products and websites that meet the user's need and expectation, and create more customer satisfaction, more loyalty, and obviously more revenue.
And now we come, I guess, to the most important and relevant part. Obviously, I'm speaking from the side of a SME listening to us, where maybe you can give us, or Giulia will give us, a practical example of an SME in the agri-food sector you have been working for, and for which you've worked based on these UX analyses and trade-offs and effects and so on.
Yeah, sure. We recently worked on a project for a food e-commerce website for a brand that is one of the leaders in the organic food industry in Italy. And our goal was actually to improve the user experience, but also to increase the user engagement and obviously the conversion rate. We started with an heuristic analysis with the guidelines that are specific for the food industry and relevant for the website we were analyzing, and just to identify what was potentially an issue in the website and what was on the design flow. And actually, we found several areas where the design could be improved, and the main one was the add to cart process, from the product listing page to the cart was really hard for the users to understand how to just change the quantities of the product and refresh the cart and have a visibility of what was going on actually. And also the menu navigation was not that clear because it didn't respect the standards of the sector and what the user were expecting from it. So we present this to the brand, but also we conducted the user testing with the real users, both from our database and also from the database of the client. And we gathered the feedbacks on the experience, which confirmed as some of the issues that we found also in the heuristic analysis, but also it provides additional insights on user behavior and preferences. Specifically, we were asked to ask users if some dynamics were clear, some flows that were implemented in the last period were clear, and not all of them actually were. So it has been really useful for the brand for understanding what could have been optimized. We're still in the process of implementing the design changes, but we already designed the roadmap to implement them based on the priorities of both of the business and both of the user experience, most critical things. And now we're starting monitoring the main KPIs related to the user experience. So not only the conversion rate, but also the abandoned cart rate, as Beppe just told us, the bounce rate, the time on site, and another thing is the search usage and customer reviews that are being implemented in those days.
That's a very good point. I have another question concerning user experience. It is a question we always get from SMEs in the agri-food sector. How is it for the companies which decide to reach out for your help? How is it with the multilingual website? Is that a spread disease that many of them just have the web page in the language of the country they are based in, or nowadays it is very common that everybody has at least the two languages, English and the country of origin?
I mean, usually right now, if you have a brand that is, a multi-market brand, for the main countries based on your customer base, you should always translate in the languages. Then it depends on the market. I mean, Latin countries usually prefer to have the translation in their language. So as an Italian, we always prefer to browse the website in Italian. By the way, in the Nordics, it's really common to browse and navigate the website in English. So it depends. I mean, if you have a country that is very important for you and have a huge impact on your business, I always advise to have a translation. And also running user tests, we usually for this kind of brands that are multi-market brands, we usually try to select users from different markets in order to understand which are the peculiarities of a user from a country against the user from another one. So sometimes that can be some optimization, some issues that are properly related to a country.
Well, very good. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Beppe. It was it from my side. I don't have any other questions for the moment, but as the users know, you'll have the chance to get all the contacts of StoreIS. I just repeat, their website is www.store, like shop.is. And yeah, thanks a lot, Beppe and Giulia, for being with us today. And I wish you still a very nice day and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you too. Thank you too.